In three, two, one. What's going on, folks? Welcome to 34 Questions. I'm your host, 34, and tonight we have Christian B in the building. How you doing tonight, Christian?
Dude, I'm doing great. I'm very flattered that you hit me up to be on your show, man. So thank you for having me here.
Is this your first time on someone else's show? Or?
No, I've done other shows, but I think the most recent one I've done was also I did one in person. The last one I did virtually was like we discussed a book, and I was like, I'm still getting used to being interviewed when I'm typically the one interviewing others. So I'm excited. It's always weird to be on this side.
I know the feeling, man. I know the feeling. For you and the folks out there who are unfamiliar with the flow of the show, let me just break it down real quick. Typically, we start off with the warm-up. After the warm-up, we'll turn to an icebreaker. After the icebreaker, we'll get into the main meat, which is the wheel of fate. We'll spin the wheel, whichever number it lands on. That's how the conversation will kind of flow. Then after all that, we'll finish out with some closeout questions. How's that sound to you, Christian?
Oh, man, this is so structured, man. This is like, you run a tight ship, my friend.
I mean, I like to I define the guidelines, and then we can freestyle within them. So
hell yeah.
But I appreciate that. But yeah, before we jump into the warm up, let me just ask you how you been. You've been doing well. You've been doing great. How you been lately, man?
Dude, the life as a creative is an interesting life because it's mixed with so many emotions, with the emotion at the forefront being gratefulness. I'm just like, I'm so grateful and blessed to have this creative outlet that people mess with. And it's dope to have this passion and this skill set that goes beyond the boundaries of a 9 to 5, that goes beyond the boundaries of a routine lifestyle. So that's so dope. But on top of that, and what comes with being a creative is stuff like self-doubt. Am I good enough? Is this worth the time? And sometimes, especially as a podcaster, when you podcast alone, it could feel kind of lonely. And then sometimes some people just slide into your DMs and be like, yo, do you want to do my show? And I'm like, oh man, that's so much dopamine that's releasing right now. People want me to be on their show, and that's so flattering. So long story short, I mean, it's a wild ride, but I'm loving it every step of the way. I'm good, man.
I feel you, man. I'm sure there's a lot more I could dig into, but I just wanted to make that to be our introductory question. Let's hop into the warm up, and I'll probably touch back on that answer you just gave me, but we'll do that a little later down the line.
Oh, cool.
Let's jump into the warm up. So my first question for you in the warm up is, what would you like the audience to know about you? Like if you're gonna meet someone for the first time, like I guess we are right now. What would you like me to know about you, man?
Right off the bat, that I'm a weird dude, probably. Like, and that weird is good. I mean, I want people to know that I have the best intentions when I meet them. I always get this typical thing, like when I meet people, that because I'm a really nice guy. I've grown up a really nice guy, but in this day and age where people are on their own, like what's the I'm a bad bitch type thing, like don't fuck with me type thing, like when someone comes off really nice in the first 5 seconds, the immediate thought is just like, I don't trust this guy. And I want people to know that you could trust me. This is what you're seeing is what you get, basically. So
I hear that. That is always like something that I think about as well, where I don't know if people think, it's sometimes too good to be true, how nice a person can be. But as what you spoke about being weird, do you mean you're weird as being so nice that it almost feels that way? Like people don't trust where you're coming from and your energy at times?
I mean, it's not me calling myself weird doesn't specifically correlate to that aspect. It's just, I want you to know that, like, I don't know. I want people to know my individuality, and that, growing up, I grew up in the 90s. And so like, it was always kind of it was always bad to be different, especially like as a straight Filipino male that comes from like a machismo household. It
Mhm.
was weird that I didn't play sports, but instead I played instruments. It was weird that I didn't play sports, but instead I like did improv type of thing, and that like, you know, that I spoke differently than your average Filipino guy in the Bay Area. And I used to like beat myself up about it. And like, I was just like, I would try to fit in. But now that I'm like 30 now.
I
And
got you.
for the past decade, or ever since I started like getting more social in high school and like letting that weirdness out, that's when things like kind of fell into place and like people started to, I found my true friends. I found the people that truly fucked with me. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's so cliche, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, but you know, I was just myself. And for those that are trying to have some like self identity crisis type stuff, like just be yourself. Like, and then people will acknowledge the best parts of you.
For sure. I was gonna ask, how did when did you start learning about yourself? Kind of being realizing that you are different from like other your peers, or joining improv. That's something that's on my list, man. I never got to do it or haven't yet. Not gonna say I never will, but yeah. When did you start realizing for yourself, like, hey, what, how am I? This feeling that I'm feeling of like, those are those people, and I'm who I am.
Uh, three things. First thing, you should definitely do improv one of these days. It's so fun. It's so fun if you just let go. Second thing, man, I like you. These are great questions, man. There,
Appreciate
this is
that.
this is dope. And third thing, the actual answer to your question is probably probably in high school when I did improv. It was like
Gotcha.
it was probably my sophomore year. I was like pretty awkward. I'd moved from Pittsburgh, California to Benicia, California,
Mhm.
and things are a little different there. Culture's different, and being a new kid, in especially in a time where like when you're 12 years old, when you're like really trying to understand yourself socially, emotionally, you know, hormonally. Um, yeah, I was awkward from seventh grade, eighth grade, ninth grade. And it wasn't until like one day they were saying like, oh, go during lunchtime, there's going to be the junior varsity improv show. It's crazy that my school had like varsity and junior varsity as if we were like a football team.
But for improv, that's
um,
crazy. Yeah.
for improv, yeah, man. There was a hierarchy. Yeah, lunchtime I saw my first improv show, and I remember thinking to myself like, oh, this is like that one thing on TV, whose line is it anyway? And I was like, I think
Yep.
I could do that.
For sure.
And so I think this was one of the first times I actually set a goal in my mind and I went through with it. The goal being, I'm gonna, whatever they're doing on stage, I'm gonna do it. And so I
Mhm.
found out what the auditions were gonna be for the following year. And so come junior year, I auditioned and I got into the junior varsity team and I did those lunchtime shows. And I was like, wow, I dig this.
Yeah.
And then yeah, and then I auditioned, and then I got bumped up to varsity. Like I don't want to toot my own horn, but
Hey, you
got
earned it.
bumped up
You earned
to
it. Yeah.
yeah, man. I mean, and with that, I found myself because improv is letting go of that filter that we all basically have. The filter, any social filter that you want of just like, hey, like, what if what are they gonna think of me if I say this? What am I gonna think? What are they gonna think if I say that? Where when you're doing improv and you're on stage and you don't have the time to even think about that, and you
Mhm.
just do, and then you get that validation of what your initial gut feeling that you did. Uh, you got that validation of just like you made the right choice right there, Christian. You're funny, or like they like this side of you, and like, oh, they like that, and like that reinforces my self-love for myself at such a sensitive age that I was just like, okay, I'm gonna lean hard into that, and that's who, you know, Christian Baltazar is now today.
That's what's up, man. One thing about improv that I feel like draws me in or is appealing to me was there was this I don't know I don't know if you're big on speeches and quotes and like that, but Stephen Colbert was doing some speech for a college at his alma mater. Talked about improv and how improv taught him how he's not the most important person and how everybody else is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you agree with that? I mean,
Absolutely. To expand on that, I mean, a lot of people say like you should do stand up. Like since you're so good at improv, you could do stand up, and I completely disagree. Both in the same category, but different beasts, right? Stand up being you're up there by yourself. Stand up being that you prepare this 3 to 5 minutes, a 10-minute set, to the fucking T, like where the words are lined up and whatnot.
Yeah.
And improv just being on the fly with the team. It's not about you all the time. Sometimes you're there to elevate the person that's the funny one in the scene. And it's still just as accomplishing. Yeah.
I never thought about that. Like, there's one person that's kind of carrying the comedic, I guess, energy, and everybody else is reacting. Yeah. Do you still do improv today, or?
I do it in my podcast. So at the end of the episode, the person that I'm chopping it up with, that I'm interviewing, improviser, comedian, or not improviser, comedian. Like I've had rappers just do an improv scene with me.
That's dope.
Which is, dude, I had Lil Russell on, and he even was down to do an improv scene with me at the end. And I was just like, this is crazy. So,
yeah, make sure plug that in at the end of the episode for sure.
Oh, we'll do.
But I got you. Let's move on to the next warm-up question, which is, how would you like to be honored? So if there was a way I could express the energy you possess, what sort of act could I do? Let me know if you want clarification on this question.
Ooh, more clarification, please.
For sure. So the way I like to frame it is, if you moved away, your family and friends are still here in Cali, and it's like your birthday, and we want to do something to feel that Christian energy. But what could we do? Is it improv or something different?
No, a big karaoke party. Karaoke party would be good.
For sure. What's your go-to? You have a go-to song?
I got like a few. It depends if is the vibe like upbeat? Like, am I trying to like hype up the room, or is this like where we're getting a little serious and like they want me to like and if I actually want to sing something that displays my range. So
let me give you two scenarios. One, you're starting off the karaoke, and then one, you're ending karaoke.
Oh, starting off the karaoke for sure. That'd probably be something that everybody could get up and it'd probably be like Lauryn Hill's "Can't Take My Eyes Off You."
Nice.
Because that one has a mixture of the oldies and it's such a classic, but it's upbeat enough that like my generation, or even the younger generation, would like know, right?
Yeah, I got you.
And everyone knows the chorus, and so everyone's singing along.
I got you. And what's your closer? If you have one.
Either "Ordinary People" by John Legend.
Oh, ooh, okay.
Or "Lately" by Stevie Wonder. Both kind of heart-wrenching. So,
I'm gonna call myself out. I don't think I know "Lately" by Stevie Wonder. So I'm gonna have to check that one out. I know Stevie's hits, but I guess I just whole catalog. But "Ordinary People," that's a choice, man, because that's one of those songs I haven't heard. Like, I heard of it I listened to it back recently, but probably been a decade since I heard that song. And then now that I'm older and I listen to that song, I'm like, wow, this message in this song, the lyrics is just hitting crazy.
The lyricism is insane,
dude. Timeless, sure. But I got you. So now we know. Should do karaoke for you.
Oh, hell yeah. Thank you.
No worries. And then my last question for you in the warm-up, Christian, is on a scale from 1 to 10, how well do you know yourself?
Dude, probably like a 5, honestly. I think that I'm still so young, and there's so much more to me that I can still discover, because I don't know why if I knew myself so well, then why am I making the mistakes that I make?
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, if I knew myself and like my actions and the consequences of my previous actions so well, why am I not avoiding them, right?
Mm.
And I think there's there's something bittersweet about that, about the self-discovery, because to discover yourself, you're gonna have to like fuck up, and then you learn from that. Because otherwise, if you live your entire life succeeding, never making a mistake, then you're pretty two-dimensional. Good for you, you're pretty two-dimensional. But like the most interesting people I've ever spoken to are the ones that kind of like have been through it. And that's how I think you gain wisdom. And I think I'm a 5 out of 10 wise, because I still have so much ahead of me. So I still surprise myself.
I hear that. On that note, when has been the last time you surprised yourself? Like something where, you know, you were in a situation, you kind of doubted yourself, but you were able to get through it and be like, wow, that's me? I didn't know I could do that.
I think it happens. I think on a general note, on a general basis, it happens every single time I record a podcast with a guest.
Word.
And yeah, dude, I surprise myself, because just like improv, that's off the top. Like what we're doing, this is off the top of the dome too. Like how we respond to each other naturally, and how I surprise myself of like, wow, I never thought that I would learn this about myself just speaking to another person. If like a 15-year-old Christian were to look up to 30-year-old Christian right now, I'd be like, how are you like holding a conversation like that? Like, how are you, man, you're listening so well. Because I don't know, I feel like around those times when I first started doing improv and I was like, oh man, I'm so funny, I was just like talk too much, like Christian, shut the fuck up. But doing my podcast every week, that teaches you to listen. And I surprise myself with listening and what I learned from other people through listening.
Hear that. Since we're talking about the pod, when did you start? Like how long you been doing it for?
I've been doing it for 4.5 years. I started in July 2019.
That's wild. Right before everything changed, right?
Yeah, dude.
But back then, were you doing virtual or already in person?
Already in person.
Sick.
Yeah, because so I didn't start off by myself. This solo journey is more of like a recent change. I started off with one of my best homies, and the reason why it's called It Can't Be That Bad is because we used to review and defend bad movies and just try to find the best stuff in it. And then we started like interviewing creatives, artists, and longtime friends, and anyone in between. And now it's evolved into what it is now. So
yeah, I gotcha. How would you describe what the pod is now for you? It seems like from an outside perspective, you're doing interviews, but I haven't really I haven't looked at your catalog, I gotta be honest, but
you're good, man.
But yeah, what is the focus now of the pod, if it's changed from what it was when it started?
Dude, I try to just highlight conversations from creatives. Creatives are, like I said, longtime friends, and anyone in between. It's not like I think there's something beautiful about not necessarily like me. I think what I want it to be is just more so like a conversation. Like I ain't tripping if I have like a rapper on and he wants to talk about his favorite Taco Bell item for like 15 minutes. And as long, and it's as long as we're getting along and it's funny, I want the listeners to feel like a fly on the wall with two people getting to know each other. And if that turns into an interview, then I for sure got questions in my back pocket, because I would ask those anyway if the cameras and microphones were off. So yeah, I mean, I basically just conversations with creatives, artists, and friends is what I would kind of water it down to.
Love it, man. I think we're operating on the same frequency out here.
Yeah.
All right, man. We made it through the warm-up. I think it's time for us to jump into the icebreaker portion. So you see you got 34 seconds on the clock. Would you rather do a this or that or a word association?
Word association.
Okay, I got you. Just know, I'm just gonna dig into a couple of the answers that you give. So
Okay.
here we go. In 3, 2, 1, family.
Um, brother, mom, dad. So basic.
I got you. That's cool.
It's dude, it's just like closeness. It's unconditional. It's roots. It's arguments, but it's also love. It's mistakes and it's learning, and it's chapter 1 is what that is, and it's also the last chapter, in my opinion, too. The beginning of the book and the end. So, yeah.
Cool. Sorry, I should have explained a little bit further, but I was gonna rapid fire like a bunch of words to you.
Oh, my bad. I was like, do I keep talking?
No, you good, man. I think you gave a great answer for family.
Okay.
But I'm torn if I should give you a couple more or if I just should dive deeper into your family answer.
It's up to you.
Yeah, no, I'm like just caught off guard, you know. But let me give you a couple more words. I'll come back to the family thing.
All right.
We don't got to time this part. Dance.
Music.
And imagine.
Childhood.
Gotcha. Stop there. When I said imagine, you said childhood. Why did childhood come up?
I mean, that's what truly being unfiltered is, man. Your children are so innocent and so bright and bushy-eyed to the point that like we entertain ourselves through imagination, which is one of the most beautiful things that is catalytic for our individuality. You know, I say this so many times on my podcast, but I say we are our childhood. Everything, and like part of that is imagination. Like when the common question of being asked, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? We don't know about school. We don't know about tuition. We don't know about bills. We don't know about 9 to 5s, but we use our imagination from what we know from like cartoons. Like, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a singer. How many times have I told myself I want to be a singer? And I imagine like, you know, I would stand on my parents' bed when they're away at work and I would pretend to sing to a big crowd. That's imagination, and that's stuff that you take with you subconsciously, and hopefully you use that as some fuel to drive you to follow your dreams.
I gotcha. You ever met anybody that doesn't have that powerful imagination? I feel like sometimes when I talk to people, or not everyone, but there have been people in my life where, you know, I'll ask them to imagine something. I can't. Like, that doesn't, you know, happen in my mind. And I'm not saying that it's weird, but it is different. And I always have to be like, man, I wonder what your childhood was like. For me, I was a only child, so I had a lot of time alone in my room. And I think the imagination was the thing that I gravitated towards, you know, it was keep me busy. But yeah, for you, have you many folks that seem like they just...
Yeah, I've met people like that, and you know, to each their own, but like there's so much more out there.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry if you didn't have a creative imagination growing up. I hope you're well. Be well, please. But there's so much fun. Even me as a grown man, just like the things I think to myself just makes me chuckle. And then, like, you know, and all ideas start off with imagination. So even when you have creative endeavors like this, like it, you know, the way you thought of your logo, the way you thought of like branding the number 34, you know, even this overlay, everything starts off with like having that imagination and visualizing it and then bringing it to fruition. So
dude, it's so fun. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know if I can stop myself from doing that. And even when, maybe it's not my intention or not something I plan, it just happens. So yeah, I mean, yeah, for the folks out there who seem to not are unable to imagine, I think they are imagining. They just didn't know that's what I almost want to. Oh, you're doing it, but
Yeah.
yeah, you're not
Yeah.
realizing it.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit more about childhood. Well, do you remember the first thing you wanted to be? Was it singer? That was the
Yeah.
first
That
thing
was
you
probably the
remember.
first thing. Yeah.
What what
Uh,
what drew you to that?
my mom claims that when I was 2 years old, and she would be driving around, and I was in my car seat in the car, uh, that I would sing at the top of my lungs at 2 years old, Unchained Melody, because my dad sang a lot of karaoke. My family, it's part of the culture. You sing a lot of karaoke. And so like when she noticed that I was able to hold a tune, like when my dad noticed I was able to hold a tune, I mean, he just put me through the ringer. Just we started singing karaoke all the time. He started finding these oldies, these songs that he thought fit my voice as a child. And like I started listening to these songs as a child and falling in love you know, with Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, all of these Rat Pack singers, and uh, I began to hone that craft, and so that's where it began.
That's what's up. Oh yeah, and then going back to family, uh, what's one quality you feel like you got from moms, and one quality you feel like you got from your
I got showmanship from my mother. I got I got lack of filter from my mother, because she's always just performing. She's always just like kind of dancing, or if she notices that my brother and I are recording her because she's doing something silly, then she'll instantly go into like performer mode and start, I don't know, just so it's, yeah, say she's like cooking in the kitchen, and we start recording her, she's just like, oh hi there, I'm cooking this and that, and I love my two beautiful children. And then I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's like, well, why I would want to be on stage. From my father, I think he taught me like how to be kind, how to be my best self. Taught me patience. He taught me. He's the first person I've ever seen angry, like truly angry, and he's the first person that I've seen get to that level, and me not wanting to ever get to that level because he didn't like that part of himself. And so yeah, he taught me that he's taught me to keep a simple life, because a simple life is a happy life, is what he would always say.
Word.
And I think one of the main things that I've gotten from him is enjoying the little things. Like,
Gotcha.
little things mean a lot. He's the type of person that'll eat a crepe and just talk about this chocolate crepe for 5 minutes. And now I'm turning into that old Filipino man that'll have like a weird dessert at some random restaurant in Napa, and then talk my fiance's ear off, be like, oh my God, like the texture on this thing is, it's small things, man.
Yeah, man, is very appreciative. I hear that. Sounds like your mom is a star though.
She's something.
I gotcha. Oh, well, all right, dog. Oh, one more thing. You talked about moms, you talked about pops. What's one thing, what quality you feel like you got from your environment?
Mhm.
Your, or
From my environment, growing up around, so I have a bunch of female cousins, and I talk about this a lot, because it's truly, once again, I am my childhood. My grandmother had 10 children, and of those 10 children, they each had 3 or more kids, and those kids, at least 80% of them were females.
Okay.
My cousins. So I just have so many female cousins, and that environment taught me how to be emotional. I think to like be cool with my emotions. Like I had said before, like growing up in a traditional Filipino household as a straight Filipino man teaches, like don't cry, like don't cry, like be a man, be strong. But when you're surrounded by girls, like it's okay that you cry. They cry, and then they talk about it, and that's something that I bring into my life every single day. I think I'm very intact with my emotions, and I think I'm grateful for that.
That's a gift, man, for sure. I think it's something I still show. I don't think I talk about it enough. I know there's people that would probably appreciate it more if I did. Yeah, I hear you. All right, man. I think we made it to the Wheel of Fate.
Oh man.
So as I give the wheel a spin, remember, if there's any question or topic that feels too deep or personal, feel free to pass. Pressure to.
Gotcha.
So you got number 21. It's right there on the line, but one for you. What are 5 words that describe you? Like, not a sentence per se, but just like boom.
Okay, sounds good. Creative, goofy, aloof, sensitive, and I would like to say, yeah, funny.
Gotcha. Which one of those do you feel like you value the most?
Probably sensitive, and that's not just like from people saying things to me about me and I feel that, but it's like the things that happen to people around me and how that makes me feel, like I think that's why I love movies so much. I think as you can see behind me, I have a bunch of like random VHSs.
See that, man? See the collection? I'm sure that's only a small part of the collection.
A very, very small part of the collection. Yeah, because I like stories, dude. I like stories, and I feel a lot. And dude, it feels good to feel. And if you can't feel it through your own life sometimes because it's so routine or you're just numb to whatever's going on, every single time I pop in a movie that I know is gonna make me feel, that's a good feeling.
Hear that? What's the last movie that made you feel something?
Damn. The last movie that made me feel something was probably Saltburn, but for the wrong reasons.
I almost want to get your like non-spoiler one sentence review of that, because I haven't seen it myself yet. But
But you haven't seen it yourself yet?
I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot of things about it. And yeah, I just haven't been able to press play yet. But yeah. Well, why did that move you?
Dude, there's so many left turns that
okay.
There's hella left turns. Whatever you think is going on, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. Whatever you think is about to happen, that for sure ain't gonna happen. Yeah, and it's yeah, man, that made me feel so much, because I'm like thinking like, wow, what incredible acting, what a great script, but who in the right mind sat down at a boardroom meeting? It was just like, yeah, this is fucking cinema gold. And it is, which it truly is. But like the fact that there was a team that was just like unfazed and slept that night after passing this, I'm like, wow, y'all are wild.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. How many stars you give it out of 5?
4.
Okay, pretty solid.
Solid 4 out of 5.
I don't know if you've seen the trailer, because I don't normally like watching trailers, but when I do, I almost feel like now that you've given me this review, it's like whatever I saw in the trailer probably isn't like indicative of what really happens in the
Yeah, nah, it's just kind of like just clips. Yeah, for sure. Like I've seen multiple trailers of it prior to watching it, and yeah, just throw all of that away.
Okay, I got you for sure. Don't keep my expectations. Oh, but yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I'll definitely check it out. Let me give the wheel another spin.
Sounds good.
This one is number 5. Number 5 is, what do you want to become? I know you are who you are right now, but looking into the future, what is your vision for yourself?
Damn, dude. Who do I want to become? That's a big question because I don't know, man. Like there was a part of me that really like as a kid, like I wanted to be on stage and really do what I love to make money, which is still a dream. Like it'd be dope if I could take podcasting and like get paid for it, or if I could just finally write some music or sing and or just go I don't know, even be like with a cover band and just make some money singing at casinos. That'd be dope too. But as I got older, like there's nothing wrong with that white picket fence life. My fiance and I bought a house here in Vallejo in September of 2022.
Congratulations,
And
man.
thank you, man. Like it's tough. I don't have fun money at all anymore. So I was just like, everything goes to the mortgage. But there's something beautiful with like imagining growing old with this woman and imagining like the hypothetical of having kids. If she wants kids, it's her. I'm purely just the ammo and she's the vessel.
No pressure. No pressure. Yeah.
No pressure at all. When if she says jump, I say when. And then,
I got you.
And then 30 seconds later, she's pregnant. Yeah, dude. A part of me wants to be that family, man. Part of me just wants to retire normally and grow old peacefully with some little youngins. But then there's another part of me that's just kind of like, nah, this ain't the end, Christian. Like, see it through. You never know what's gonna happen. But there's also a balance of there being both. I could be a 67-year-old guy interviewing like local artists and be like, all right, I'll see you later, and then retired and chilling at home.
Honestly, that might be when you pop off, right? Because people are going to be like, oh, you guys seen this 67-year-old guy just interviewing? And then people are like, oh, yeah.
Well, that's crazy.
Yeah, they'll love you then,
Yeah, they'll be like, that's so original, this old man.
I feel it, man. A part of me feels that way too. Like, with this pod and just any other dreams I might have, it's like, it's hard to let go. And I'd be thinking, if I'm still doing it at such an old age, maybe that's when I finally like attracted to it and like, oh yeah, I respect this old guy for still doing his dream.
Yeah. There's respect with the consistency, or with the consistency, persistence, and I don't know, just doing the damn thing wherever it brings you.
Yeah, gotcha. Let me give the wheel another spin. Just want to thank you again, man. I hope you're having fun. You have about 20-ish minutes left in the pod.
Sounds good.
We go with number 30 is what is a story that no one believes? You probably try to tell people and they're like, nah.
Oh, dude, I got so many. Fuck. I'm trying to think of like, there's probably, there's a promo of it that when I had La Russell on and I talked about it. Oh man, it's pretty crass though and profane, so I probably won't do that one.
Gotcha.
But yeah, when I was a kid, I got bullied and made fun of a lot as a fat kid. And I remember there was this one day in first grade that I was fed up, and there was this kid that like called me fat, and it was the straw that broke the camel's back. And instead of like, I don't know, throwing hands, not promoting that you should, settle things with violence, but I was a kid and I was a sensitive kid, and I was up to here with this kid just calling me, I forget what he called me, chubby or fat. I bit him. I took his arm and I bit him. And no one believes.
Oh, 1 second.
Uh,
Cutting in and out a little bit. I don't know if you can hear me. 1 2 1 2.
oh.
You got me? Got me.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Are we good? Okay, my bad. I think because it's like raining pretty hard where I'm at, so my Wi-Fi's been spotty because of it.
It's all good. You know, we can edit it post. But yeah, you were talking about the last straw, called you chubby. What happened?
Yeah. Last straw, he called me chubby. I was up to here with it. And so I took his arm and I bit his arm.
Oh,
and,
snap. Okay.
Yeah. And no one believes that. No one's just like,
That he remembers.
why didn't you people are thinking like, why didn't you just throw hands like a normal kid? And I was just like, I don't know. And it's why that backfires is that when someone calls you fat and you bite them, people are starting to think that you were trying to eat him, and now they're thinking you're like, and you know,
Like, no wonder. No
wonder he's eating this guy's eating all the first graders on the playground.
That's wild, man. But
Yeah.
I hope he learned his lesson. He learned his lesson after that. Like,
I think
I'm not,
so,
I'm
man.
not messing with this guy no more.
I pushed trauma out, so it's like I blacked out after that. We'll see.
I appreciate you sharing that story, man.
Of course.
Nah, I feel you. I was a chubby kid as well. For you, and it affects me in my adulthood, right? Like, I still try to work out every day. I try not to become a chubby kid. For you, does that ever play into your life nowadays, or you've really just been let it go by now?
Every single day, every single minute, I think about it, man. It's like I didn't lose weight until I was like 20 years old. I was 255 pounds at 20 years old.
Yeah.
And so I definitely have I have a lot of body dysmorphia. I have like a lot of like vanity issues, because I knew how much my looks affected me growing up, right?
For sure.
But I wouldn't have any other way, because growing up a chubby kid, that teaches you personality. When you're not aesthetically pleasing to the eye, and you know, kids are mean, young people are mean, all the way to like fucking high school, you learn how to make friends and how to attract people in other ways, in important ways, the ones that are evergreen. So I think I did okay in that department.
I got you, man. Damn, I didn't think about it that way, but you're right. Yeah, for you, I want to say you have a go-to to connect with people, but what seems to just flow easily for you? Try to connect.
Ask them about them.
That's why we do what we do, I guess.
That's why we do what we do, dude. I mean, like, there's so many times when people like just come up to me, like even friends that I have now. Sometimes we'll like hang out for 3 hours, and I know everything about their life, because they're down to talk about their life for 3 hours. Like, I know everything about their childhood, about their last trip that they took, about their last 3 relationships. And then they don't even know they don't remember what I do for a living. So
I got you. Yeah, no, that makes sense, man. People, I mean, it's good that people have a way they have you to listen to them. I think we all need a listener now and then. Well, for you, have you been able to have that release too? Like, be the talker and have some you
right now.
That's true.
Yeah,
in your everyday life, I guess. Aside from your fiance, but yeah, I know she listens to you too. But yeah, is it easy to find those people that will listen? I think we didn't get to do the this or that portion, but one of my questions in there was like group hangout or one-on-one hangout, and for me, I definitely go for one hangout.
Yeah,
because that's where I feel most heard, to be honest. Like, if I'm in a group, I do more listening, or everyone wants to talk, so a lot of opportunities to listen. One-on-one is when I feel like I got the mic, feel like I can talk, and
yeah, Yeah, no, that's I vibe with that completely, and I think that's why you and I are getting along right now. At least I hope we're getting along. No, because it's these one-on-one hangs. You know, it's having a podcast does this. I mean, like, it's so dope because, like, otherwise, I keep telling, like, a lot of the people that come on, you know, like these people that I see at music events, because I have a lot of like rappers and singers come on. I always tell them, be like, like, this was dope. Like, I got to kick it with you for 2 hours. Like, this is the longest conversation we've ever had. Otherwise, we just dab it up, like, when we're at these events.
Yeah.
But to answer your question earlier than that, in my everyday life, no, it's a little more. I would say on the more difficult side for me to be heard in that sense,
Mhm.
and I think it comes from not wanting to be that person that always talks about themselves and having received criticism at a young age around that time when I started doing improv, just like, man, Christian talks a lot, that like I don't want to be that person in my everyday life. So usually when I talk to people, I like ask them about their life, and if they want to play conversation like a tennis match and go back and forth, I'm down. But if it's just me pitching the ball to them and they're swinging, then I'm down for that too, you know.
I hear that, man. Yeah, I definitely appreciate that energy. I think we got time for one more spin, so I'm gonna just go for it.
Sounds good.
Was going to be number 26. That is, what message or quote would you say resonates with you?
Can I say two?
Absolutely.
So one I had mentioned prior, I think I'll bring with me into the grave, is that little things mean a lot. Little things will forever mean a lot. Little things are the nuances in life that make the biggest difference. Actually, little things is what makes us individual from each other. So shout out to my father for that. And the second quote, and I don't know where I heard this. I forget, but I've lost, and I can't say it verbatim and where it's originated, but it's somewhere along the lines of, you know, I get a lot of criticism for being a nice person, or very, very nice, and that I'm very open, and that I see the good in people, and I give the benefit of the doubt. But I'd rather that than be a cold-hearted person. So the quote goes something like this. It's I'd rather get hurt from being open, loving, and being a nice individual than hurt someone else from being cold, reserved, and closed off. So it's something like that.
Hear that, man. Sure. Yeah, man, I wonder if it was a movie or something.
I don't know.
Got that from, but for sure. Dig it.
Thank you.
I don't know if you wanted to go further with that. If not, you could with that. That was pretty poetic.
Thank you. I think I'll leave it at that.
Sure. All right, man. We made it to the portion of the pod where we go to the close out questions. But before we get there, I want to set the stage for you for this one little exercise. It's called the 34th month.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it goes, I am, I can, I will. So I am blank, I can blank, I will blank. Let me know when you're ready so I could kind of set the stage for you. Yeah. Then I'll let you know when to let it rip. But you got it in your head, let me know.
As of right now, since I've been more in my feels, I think it'll be like a little more from like the heart. So I think I think I'm ready.
All right. Here you go. You're going to be speaking to the universe. I am, I can, I will. Go for it.
I am good enough. I can be loved. And I will succeed. So, yeah.
Gotcha, man. Thank you for sharing. If you ever need a reminder, now you have this little sound bite. I tell people to set it as their alarm,
Wow, that's beautiful.
But yeah, man. Cool. Now we've made it to close out questions. This next question is actually from my previous guest. So shout out to K7. K7's question for you is, if at the end of your journey you get everything that you ever dreamed of, like you got to your vision, would you start all over if you had the chance?
Woo! Ah! No, man. I think I wouldn't start over. That's so scary, man. Like the connections, the friends, the people that I've made, the mistakes that I've made, that's me, and I can't have it any other way. Yeah.
I feel that, man.
To erase it, that just means that I lived a life in regret, and why change it if I don't regret it?
Yeah, I did not think of it that way. I remember my answer to it was like, because I haven't gotten there, I don't think I would. But I feel like once I get there and have like lived it a little while, then maybe my answer would. But for now, I'm with you. I would not do that.
So good to know.
And then next question for you is, what would you like to ask the next guest on third?
Ooh, if I don't want it to be cheesy. I mean, like, I feel like I've heard this one, like, if you could go back in time and like say something to your younger self, what would it be? But like, I feel like everyone's been asked that question. It's a beautiful question, but and I guess it's a little more on your send off. What's the song that you want playing when you're transitioning from this life to whatever else is out there?
Damn, the send off.
The send off music. What is that?
I'm just gonna write this down real quick. What is?
Yeah,
that's a hard one, man. I like to answer this last one too. I feel like a lot of songs come to mind for sure, and I don't know why this one comes to mind. It's a Mac Miller song, and I remember the way it makes me feel. It's very reflective, very like it makes me, I don't know, I don't know if you know the song. I'm gonna just say the lyrics. My regrets feel like text I shouldn't send. We're more like, we could be neighbors, but more like strangers. We might be friends, something like that. I just need a way out. My head, anything for a way out. My head. Yeah. Anyways, that's how the song goes. And like, damn, I think that might be it right now. If you're gonna ask me that question,
wow.
I would choose. If you haven't heard it, I would recommend it.
What's the title of the song?
Let me look it up right now for you. I do not want to butcher it. My regrets look like It is called "Come Back to Earth." Wow.
Come Back to Earth. That's crazy. Man, that's wild.
Connection, wow. Man, connection. But yeah. Mac Miller, "Come Back to Earth."
Mac Miller, rest in peace.
R.I.P. man. Last question for you, Christian. Question that ties everything together. 100, 200, 300 years from now, our descendants watching this video, what would you like to tell them?
It's always going to be okay. It's always going to be okay. No matter what your past, don't judge yourself on your mistakes. Judge yourself for your triumphs. You know, life's a beautiful thing. Enjoy it. And I hope you're happy and be well.
Joe, man, they hear you. I hear you. Any last things you'd like to add before we head out of here?
You're dope. You're super cool. Great questions, great vibes. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Yeah, man. If you ever wanted to come on the podcast, hit me up. And wait, where are you based out of?
Daly City. So I'm
Daly City.
I'm close enough. I'm close enough, man. Benicia's not that far.
Yeah.
Or Vallejo, I guess.
Yeah, Vallejo.
Yeah, man. I mean, if that's an invite, I would love to say yes, and you let me know what works for you, and I'll do what I can. That'd be dope as hell. I
Hell
think
yeah.
I kind of want to hear what questions you got for me and how that would flow. But yeah, uh, please plug in everything right now. Take this
Sounds
moment.
good. Yeah, what's up, y'all? You guys could follow my personal Instagram at Christian Has Asthma. I do have asthma, but if you guys want to follow the podcast, which I would much prefer you to follow the podcast because that's where I put my time and energy into. I have a podcast it's called It Can't Be That Bad podcast, also known as ICBTB podcast. That's the handle, ICBTB podcast.
You were saying, I hope you really like the videos. I work really hard on them, and I bought really expensive cameras. That's where you kind of cut out.
I did buy very expensive cameras. Yeah, check it out on YouTube. Check it out on Spotify. The video episodes are available on Spotify. So if you got that and you just kind of want to see what my face looks like, I hope I don't disappoint. I'm fairly symmetrical. Yeah, check it out on that. I got some dope people on the podcast. I got rappers like La Russell. I got Nefta Pharaoh on. I got local Vallejo creators, creatives, artists, singers. I got MMA fighters coming on. It's good. It's a beautiful thing. People are beautiful, and I get to know them on my podcast. So if you want to get to know them with me, come through and check it out.
Please go check it out, y'all. We need this more of this energy in the universe. So I appreciate you, Christian, for doing what you do.
I appreciate you, man.
Let's make it happen, man. I feel like we can cook something up that would be pretty dope. But
Hell
yeah. Thank you for coming.
Dude.
Thank you for coming through once more. I want to thank the folks out there. If you watching it on YouTube, listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I appreciate your time as well. Please remember to reach out, reach forward. As always, much love. And we'll catch you guys next time on 34 Questions. Peace.
Peace.
I'm going to let the credits roll.